What's happening in South Carolina?
So this story has captivated national attention and left many in South Carolina puzzled. I've been following it closely for the past week as it involves many layers. So here's the setup for you. John Paul Miller, a pastor from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, not too far from where I'm sitting right now, announced the sudden death of his wife to his congregation last week. He explained that she died by suicide and that she had struggled with mental health issues. But the timing and manner of his announcement raised a lot of eyebrows. Get this, Pastor Miller completed his entire Sunday sermon before breaking the news to his congregation. He then asked them to leave quietly without discussing the matter, which struck many as unusual. Typically in such situations, people would expect a pastor to appear more distressed or welcome comfort. But Miller seemed unusually composed. I want you to take a look at a clip from his announcement to the church.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And we're going to have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now.
So that was highly unexpected, right? To deliver a full sermon and then even crack jokes during it before revealing such tragic news. It was unconventional at the very least, but as I dug deeper, there was more details that came to light that further fueled speculation about this case. We discovered that Mica Miller had served Pastor John Paul Miller with divorce papers just days before she died. Local media reports indicated a history of alleged abuse, harassment, and grooming by Pastor Miller, who met Mica when she was just 10 years old while he was a youth leader at the church. Other disturbing incidents were also reported, like her tires being slashed in early March and finding a GPS tracking device on her car. Mica had also told police she feared for her life, but the reports didn't identify any suspect, leaving a lot of room for speculation. The internet went wild. Given these reports and Mica's family's skepticism, many question whether her death was really a suicide. Despite the swirling doubts, yesterday the police released a timeline and a 911 call that Mica made before her death, suggesting it was indeed a suicide. They also clarified that her husband was not at the location where she died. Yet because of all these earlier incidents involving Pastor Miller, the case remains under close scrutiny. Mica's friends say she was making plans for the future right before she died, leading some to ask why would someone file for divorce if they intended to end their life. Adding another layer of controversy, I spoke with a waitress who served Pastor Miller at her restaurant. She said he left her a big tip along with his phone number. So after hearing about his wife's death with all the publicity surrounding this case, she texted him to ask if there were any updates. His response, yes, lots of news, LOL, I'll text later. That tone struck many as inappropriate considering the circumstances. Important to note, Pastor Miller has since been relieved of his duties at Solid Rock Church, and Mica's family is reportedly exploring legal action. I just want to add that I've reached out to the pastor for comment, but he hasn't returned my calls. This case has sparked heated debate about the pastor's behavior following the wife's death and whether he had any involvement in her earlier distress. Given all the pieces of the story, a lot of people are still skeptical. Of course, I've been following it and will continue to do so. But, Dana, I just want to say I barely scratched the surface here. I mean, even the obituary was strangely worded, giving praise to the pastor. So I could talk about this case for an hour. It's just so bonkers. But unfortunately, I think things like this happen far too often than what we notice. But again, a lot of eyes on this case from Myrtle Beach, even though it ended up being suicide according to the facts, but still that pastor's behavior raising a lot of doubt, Dana.
Yeah, I mean, this story is getting wall-to-wall coverage right now. It's exploding by the minute. Just how well did Mica's family and the pastor's family know each other? Were they like a tight, close-knit group? Or has there been just a long history of struggle within the relationship?
So she actually posted on Facebook a lot about abuse and some of her mental health struggles and how perhaps that led to the mental issues. I don't think after texting with the sister that they are, the best of friends and chummy with the husband. They are exploring legal options reportedly against him. despite the fact that this was a suicide, and all these police reports and so forth allege continued abuse, grooming, and harassment over the years. So I don't think they're going to be singing in unison with Pastor John Paul Miller, who, by the way, declined to meet with police when they met with her family to go over some of the facts of the case. He stated through his attorney he wasn't even going to show up to the meeting.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, please follow up with us. This is such a strange story, like ruling out if it's a suicide or was there questions looming? Was he more involved than people or that he's leading on? I mean, there's just so much to this. So yeah, please do come back on with any updates if you have them. Maybe try to, interview him as well. I know that he's probably tight-lipped about this and not wanting to speak to media right now. But if you can get him, Jackson, we'll air it. Thanks so much.
For sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good to be with you, Dana. Thank you.